This is Recovery Lifestyles with Carmel. Recovery Lifestyles is committed to raising awareness and ending stigmas surrounding addiction and mental health. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Kim, who has 6 years of sobriety. Kim runs the community called Sober is the New Cool. The inspiration behind her community was when her teenage son began to have seizures and could not socially drink like the rest of his friends. As a way to support him, she decided to take the challenge and get sober herself. Hey Kim, how's it going?
Great, Carmel. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So I'm super excited to have you on here today. And do you want to just start by sharing with the audience a little bit more about who you are and your story?
So in 2013, my son started having grand mal seizures. And so as a normal teenager at the age of 15, everybody wants to go out, be like everybody else, drink a beer or two. And he was a football player, so that seemed to be the thing that they used to do. But unfortunately for him, with his medicine, if he drinks, then he'll have a seizure. So therefore, I decided one day, we were sitting down together and I was telling him, oh, Matthew, it's easy, just go to the party and don't drink, it'll be fine. And as I looked at him, I realized I was sitting there with a glass of wine in my hand. And I thought, wow, this is so hypocritical of me to tell him that he doesn't need to drink. And there I was drinking all the time. So I decided right then and there, I said, well, why don't we just, I'll try with you for 3 months not to drink, and I'll show you that, I'll support you and we'll do it together. So I did it for 3 months. 3 months went by and he said, but you see, Mom, now you could drink again. It's Christmas, or it was, I can't remember what holiday it was. Yeah. And I said, no, okay, I won't drink again. And now it's 6.5 years later and I've never had another drink. So, and now he's seizure free. And so we're all good.
Yeah, what an inspiring story. I mean, I just adore you because not many parents out there would maybe even think to do that, right? Like, because drinking is just such a normal, I guess, thing in society, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's amazing. And so, now your son has his health. How are you doing? What was your experience by quitting drinking?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I guess I drank a lot more than I thought I did, because when I did stop, I had better energy, I slept better, I exercised more, my patience level was a lot better. My stress level, because of his seizures, I was quite stressed for quite some time until we found the right medicine. It was a lot easier for me to deal with all that without liquor as opposed to with liquor. When I thought, oh, I'll just have a glass of wine or vodka martini and, I won't have to really, I can chill out and, relax my brain. And it was worse in the end. So for me, it's changed my life completely. And I don't think, I know I'll just never go back. It's just not worth one sip of anything ever again.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to chance it.
Yeah. Well, and I think you hit on something huge there when you said that, you have the glass of wine or the drink and you feel relaxed, but then the consequences later or the next day are worse. It actually, yeah. And I think that we get caught in that cycle. Well, it's been a long time since I've drank, but I can see within other people how that cycle, right? And so then they need to keep going. And so was there any struggle for you in the beginning?
At the beginning, yeah, I have to say at the beginning it was quite something. Like the first 3 months was, I guess, not so bad, because I guess it wasn't really like I was never going to drink. I was going to drink again as far as I was concerned. This was just to support him. And the longer I went, the better I felt. And I was great. And then there were milestones. Like at a year, I thought, wow, this is going to be so great. And I guess I expected like firecrackers and the whole world to stop. And there was none of that. And it was like, wow, that's disappointing. But all in all, it's been pretty good. up until this summer, for some reason, I don't know if it's because he's better, it seemed to be a little more tempting. The wine just seemed like rosé was one of my things in the summertime, and every time I saw a glass of rosé, it was like, whoops. And then I had to, but I was fine, but it was more obvious that like had to watch myself and my surroundings, I found. And it is 6.5 years later. So as fast as it came, it left, but it came on a much more frequent basis this summer than it has. So
Yeah.
I guess it is an ongoing.
For sure. And I think that like as humans in general, we love, what am I trying to say here? Like we create these habits and they're hard to break. And sometimes our brain can like mess with us. I get it. So I hear where you're coming from. And I think that's important why we have these supportive communities. And so I want to just lead into and talk a little bit about the community you created. Do you want to show us your shirt?
There we go.
Sober is the new cool.
Absolutely. And yeah. I've met the most fabulous people, including you, on Instagram. And the followers I have I find their hearts are really, really true. Mm-hmm. They really help one another. There's no judgment. Everybody's free to be able to express themselves. And life is hard. Whether you drink or you don't drink, life is still hard. And I think that the fact that there's no judgment and people really find that there's a lot of support. And sometimes people just need a little bit of confidence or one sentence to help them get through that day. And for me, if I can have someone not drink one day, 1 week, 1 month, or a year, could maybe save somebody's life. So that's why we created Sober is the New Cool.
I know. I think it's so cool how these communities and how we're people coming from all walks of life and we start mingling together, and you're right. There is no judgment. It's just pure support. It's like we all have a common thing in our life that we've struggled with and we can all relate to each other. So it doesn't matter where you've come from, what you look like, or any of that. And so, yeah. So to share with us a little bit more, how did the idea come to create Sober is the New Cool?
Well, when I first started with my son, it was really just for him. Okay. And at one point, I could hear him tell his friends, well, no, I can't drink because my mother doesn't drink. And then I realized there was a huge pressure with young kids, whether it was drinking, drugs. There was just a huge pressure to want to belong or be cool or whatever. And the drinking and driving thing was huge for me. And thank God my kids do the Uber thing is great for us. We live by Uber. But I find that there's been a lot of times where in my life where I probably drank and drove where I shouldn't have. So Sober is the New Cool for me is more for young kids to know that maybe you just be sober for that night and be the designated driver. Or if you're pregnant as a mother, you don't drink for those 9 months, like really not drink for 9 months. Yeah. It doesn't really matter for what reason you're stopping. You could stop, like I said, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, or forever. And you will reap the benefits, you know?
Yeah. It just reminded me of this meme I just saw the other day, or actually I think it was somebody's account in the community. And so my sister-in-law is pregnant right now, and I had to send it to her because it made me laugh so hard. Because it said, it's not the pregnancy glow, it's my detox glow. I haven't had a drink in 9 months. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And it's incredible when you do see the pictures, even of myself, I'm not as bloated. Yeah. Everybody's, and it's not just me, it's anyone who's is sober. You can see a difference. The eyes glow, the skin is glowing, everything just looks better, you know, because I think you feel better.
It is really incredible, isn't it? It's like there is like this glow, and it doesn't matter what you look like. Somehow it's just you have this attractive feature about you. Anyway, that's what I've noticed too.
And I think there's a light somehow. It might sound odd, but I think there's a light of kindness, and maybe it's serenity from no booze. Maybe that's what comes out, but it just seems everyone who I've met on these different websites, they just seem to be willing to help people and very kind.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a family. You feel almost like a real family, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We're finally in the cool club.
There you go.
Spent all this time drinking and doing drugs, trying to feel a part of something, and it's like, oh, it was being sober. Sober got me in.
And I find that that's the problem today. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's a wedding, a birthday, Christmas,
a baby shower.
Holiday. Yeah, everybody thinks that. Well, what do you mean you don't drink? It's
oh yeah.
It's a bit daunting.
So I want to lead into that a little bit, actually, because it just came to my mind. How do you deal with people who may be offended or they feel judged because they're drinking and you're not, even though we know it has nothing to do with us?
No.
But it's their stuff. How do you deal with that?
Well, I have to say, my real friends, the ones that have stuck by me through this, never really, when I said I wasn't going to drink again, it was fine. In other social situations where it's more acquaintances, at the beginning, I felt like I had to explain why I didn't drink. And because of my son, and it was a whole long story. And I thought, no, why do I have to explain anything? I don't want to drink, period. I shouldn't have to say it makes me feel better. I'm calmer. I did it for my son. Why do I need an excuse to not drink? I just don't.
And we're justifying it because we want to make them feel better, because we sense that they're not feeling, but that's not up to us to make them feel better. I know. I used to do this too all the time. It took me like a decade to get over that. So I was like, oh, I'm doing it again.
Exactly. Or you're at a dinner party and somebody says, would you like white wine? And I say, no, thank you. Would you like red wine? No, thank you. Would you like a vodka? No, thank you. You know? So now I just say, no, thank you. I'll just have Perrier right from the beginning. So I don't go through those steps anymore. The white, the red, the vodka, or whatever.
It's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in your community? Is there anything that's coming up? Anything that you want to share?
Well, I'm trying to do some fundraising events for younger people because, I mean, there's a lot of people. It doesn't matter really the age. But for me, for some reason, I think if younger people can think sober is cool, it takes a lot of pressure off. And I really want to help build self-esteem.
Yeah.
So right now, wherever I can and whoever needs me, I have been giving advice, not as a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I just try to remain super positive and give people hope that today is, if it's a bad day, tomorrow will be better. So we will eventually start selling T-shirts and mugs and, doing events with other people. I've met some people in New York City that we are going to probably collaborate with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look forward to doing that with you.
Absolutely. And now I've met another girl through New York City that she's doing something also as a sober community. And she wants to get involved. And it's really, I think it's like a pieces of a puzzle all coming together. You in one end of Canada, me in another end of Canada, and then American people. It's just all, working out quite well, I feel.
I have a feeling God might be in control of all this.
I think so, because it's quite funny how we've all just kind of connected in such a short period of time. Because I have been doing this for about 2 years, and it's just in the last 3-4 months that it's just like all the pieces are fitting together, which I find quite amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that with this push in society, because there's such an epidemic of addiction and people are dying, like it's overwhelming sometimes. I mean, I find even myself just overwhelmed with sadness because of what is going on out there. And it's not just a junkie on the street. right?
No.
And I think that's what our communities, all of us out there doing right now, is raising that awareness, right? Because this stigma needs to end, because now it's becoming, I mean, it's so huge. I was watching, I don't even watch TV, but I was clicking it on to put Paw Patrol on for my 4-year-old. And as I was clicking, there was this news saying that a mom addicted to methamphetamine somehow got the meth into a baby bottle.
Oh my
And the
God.
baby was in the ICU, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, and just all these moms out there that are, you
And
know,
there's a lot of them. There's a
there's
lot of them.
so many. I don't know if it's because I'm a mom or because I got sober at, you know, such a young age. I was only 24 when I came into the program, but I have a lot of moms reach out to me and ask, you know, can you post this picture of my child, and we need to find them, and things like that.
Oh,
And so I think that as a society, we're starting to wake up, and it's people like us that need to just keep doing what we're doing, even though sometimes it feels like, why am I doing this? But, you know, it's working. And so you kind of hit on something there, you know, as this past, I don't know, 3-4 months, I find for myself that it's in the news more. It's in, you know, we're
yes.
seeing it more. Yeah. So,
But I find that mothers in general are a little more open than they used to be. But I still feel that if your child had cancer, you would ask 50 million people. You wouldn't just keep it quiet. And I feel that that stigma has to end, because it is a disease. Addiction is a disease, and it has to stop.
yeah,
It has to.
exactly. So as we, I guess, can't believe this went by so fast. As we're starting to wrap up, is there anything on your heart that you would really love to share?
Well, the one thing I would say is, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Because God, your children need a mother or a father. It doesn't matter who's the one that drinks too much or is addicted. And sometimes it does start out as pain medicine and just gets out of control. You have to start somewhere, and just try. Put your kids first, because your kids really need you. Doesn't matter how old they are, they always need you.
So, and if anyone would like to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
They can either email me or look up a website called soberisthenewcool.org.
Okay.
And it tells my story, and we will be creating a web page now. But I mean, all you have to do is go on sober.is.thenewcool on Instagram.
Yes.
And I'm happy to post and talk you through anything you need, and encourage you every step of the way.
So, and I'll also have your links underneath this show, so it's easy for people to find you. So Kim, thank you so much for taking the time today and chatting with me. And again, I just adore you. I adore everything you're doing. You're amazing.
Well, I really find you inspiring, and I have to congratulate you. At the age of 24, to become sober is incredible. And I think for all young kids today, your story will really, really inspire them. And for me as a mom, I think, and stop, you know, at around age 50, 52 to stop drinking, I think I'm good for another bunch of women that right now are having empty nests and may need, you know, a new direction to fulfill their lives.
Yes.
So sober is definitely the new cool.
It is. Awesome. Okay, we'll chat soon.
Thanks. Bye, Carmel. Thanks for having me.